Your dog is happy right now, not because you just fed them or took them for a walk, but because of something you've built with them over months and years that shows up in behaviors so quiet, most owners never notice them. This video is about learning to see them, and once you do, you'll never look at your dog the same way again. Welcome to Canine Dog Talk. Subscribe now, there's a lot more where this came from. Today we're covering 18 signs that only appear in dogs whose lives are genuinely good. Not performed happiness, not excitement triggered by food or novelty. The deep, settled, consistent contentment of a dog who feels safe, understood, and completely at home in their life with you. These signs are subtle. Some of them look like nothing at all, but each one is your dog communicating something real. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for.
Sign number 1, the full body wiggle. Most people think a wagging tail is the universal signal of a happy dog, but a tail wag alone tells you very little. The behavior that actually reveals deep social joy is something different, a loose, fluid wave of motion that doesn't start at the tail, but seems to begin somewhere in the middle of the dog's entire body, moving outward in both directions at once. The hindquarters swing, the shoulders loosen, the head bobs, and the whole animal becomes briefly, completely, unreservedly happy. This isn't an excited response to a stimulus, it's an overflow response to a person. Dogs produce this full-body expression specifically in the presence of someone they feel completely safe with, someone their nervous system has filed away as a source of warmth, comfort, and uncomplicated belonging. With unfamiliar people or people they are uncertain about, the movement stays contained. The tail might move, but the body stays measured. With you, there's nothing to measure. The joy comes out whole. Watch for this when you come home. Not the jump or the bark or the spin, the full body soft looseness that precedes all of it. That is your dog's body telling the truth before their brain has had a chance to modulate anything. Sign number 2, soft resting eye contact. There's a specific quality of eye contact that a content dog gives to the person they're most bonded to, and it's different from every other kind of canine gaze. It's not the focused intensity of a dog watching for a command, not the wide, alert look of a dog monitoring a threat, not the pleading gaze angled up at someone eating food. It's softer and quieter than all of those. A gaze that rests rather than asks, that settles rather than searches. When a dog looks at you this way, their whole face participates. The muscles around the eyes relax, the brow smooths, the jaw loosens, the body follows. Shoulders drop, breathing deepens. The whole animal becomes slightly more still. And something happens to you too. There's a quality to being looked at like this that you feel before you can explain it. As if the look itself is a statement of trust, a confirmation that the world between the two of you is exactly right. Researchers studying this gaze have found that it triggers the release of oxytocin in both the dog and the person being looked at, the same hormone released in parent-infant bonding. Your dog isn't just looking at you, they're chemically deepening the bond every time they hold that gaze, and they only do it with people whose presence feels like home. Sign number 3, yawning when you yawn. This one is easy to miss because it looks insignificant. You yawn. A few seconds later your dog yawns. You assume it's coincidence or that they were tired anyway. But research into contagious yawning in dogs has found something interesting. Dogs are significantly more likely to yawn in response to a specific person's yawn if they are emotionally bonded to that person. The effect is strongest with their primary attachment figure and barely present with strangers. Contagious yawning is understood to be a marker of empathy, the involuntary mirroring of another being's physiological state. Your dog's nervous system has synchronized with yours closely enough that your physical expressions ripple into their body without any conscious decision on their part. They're not imitating you. They're resonating with you, the way a tuning fork responds to a tone it recognizes. This happens most easily in quiet moments. A slow morning and evening on the couch, the unhurried intervals between things. Watch for it. It's one of the smallest and most honest signs that your dog is deeply attuned to you specifically. Sign number 4, The constant check-in. You look up from what you're doing and your dog is already looking at you. Not staring, not tense, just watching. Softly, casually, with an alertness that has no urgency in it. And the moment you make eye contact, they look away again and go back to whatever they were doing. This is the check-in, and in a content dog, it happens repeatedly throughout the day. They're not monitoring you out of anxiety. They're monitoring you out of connection, using you the way humans use familiar landmarks to orient themselves in space. You are their reference point for what is safe, what is normal, what is fine. When they confirm that you're here and you're okay, their own nervous system settles. Shoulders drop, muscles relax, they return to rest. Behaviorists call this social referencing, the behavior of reading a trusted figure's emotional state to calibrate one's own. Human infants do it. Dogs do it. And the key feature of the behavior in both cases is that it's directed at a specific person. Not everyone in the room, not whoever is nearest. The person they've identified as their primary source of safety and information about the world. If your dog checks in on you throughout the day with that calm, unhurried glance, and you can feel that it has none of the anxiety of a dog who is worried about being left, you are watching a fundamentally secure animal live their life in your company. Sign number 5, silent understanding. There's a specific point in the relationship between a person and a dog where the dog begins to move in response to the person's intention rather than their action. You think about standing up and the dog is already rising. You shift your weight toward the door and they're already oriented in that direction. You pick up a specific object and they recognize what comes next before you've done anything that should tell them. This isn't magic and it isn't mysterious. It's the result of your dog having paid close, sustained attention to you across hundreds or thousands of interactions until they've mapped the subtle precursors to your behaviors, the micro shifts in posture, the changes in breathing, the specific quality of movement that precedes specific outcomes. They've been studying you far more carefully than you've been studying them, and what they've built is a model of you so detailed they can predict your next move from information you didn't know you were sending. A dog who demonstrates this kind of silent attunement is a dog who has invested deeply in understanding you specifically. That investment is both cognitive and emotional. They're paying that quality of attention because you matter to them at a level that makes you worth learning that thoroughly. Sign number 6, melting onto their side when you pet them. You place your hand on your dog's back and they don't just accept the contact. They slowly, fluidly tip over onto their side, not dramatically, not because you pushed them. They simply give in to the contact, releasing the muscular tension that keeps them upright and settled into full relaxation. The significance of this is in what it requires the dog to override. Every instinct an animal carries tells them to stay oriented, to keep their belly protected, to maintain the posture that allows them to respond quickly if they need to. Lying on their side is the opposite of that posture. It's the most physically vulnerable position a dog can be in, and they move into it slowly, willingly, with a visible release of breath, because your hand is there. And with your hand there, none of those instincts feel necessary. You can feel the shift when it happens. The breathing changes. The muscles soften in sequence like something untying itself one knot at a time. Their eyes may close. The energy in the space around you becomes quieter. This is your dog's nervous system saying, here of all places, I don't have to be ready. I can just rest. That is not a small thing. Sign number 7, sleeping on their back. When your dog rolls onto their back to sleep, legs loose in the air, belly completely exposed, they are, from a purely biological standpoint, making themselves maximally vulnerable. Every vital organ is available. There is no way to spring to their feet quickly from this position. The posture communicates, at the deepest level of canine instinct, that they perceive no threat in their environment significant enough to warrant readiness. A dog doesn't sleep like this in a home they feel uncertain in. They don't sleep like this near people they don't fully trust. They don't sleep like this in environments where their nervous system hasn't fully decided it's safe. This posture is the end result of a long accumulation of evidence. Everything you've done consistently over months and years that told them the world in your home is predictable, that surprises here tend to be good ones, and that you are not a source of danger. When your dog sleeps on their back near you, That is the distilled record of your relationship made visible in their body. Every routine you kept, every calm evening, every consistent return when you left, all of it added up to this. A dog who has nothing they need to guard against while you're here. Sign number 8, the deep sigh of relaxation. It happens at the end of something. The end of a meal, the end of a walk, a moment when the dog has found their spot and committed to it. A long, slow exhale that carries more weight than ordinary breathing, as if something inside them is releasing rather than simply expiring air. The shoulders drop with it, the legs soften, the eyes close or go half-lidded, and then they are still. This is the sound of a dog who has nothing left to manage in this moment. No alertness required, no tension being maintained, no part of them still monitoring the room. They have arrived at complete rest in the presence of someone whose company makes rest feel safe. It's easy to hear this sound and think nothing of it. It's small, it's brief, it's quiet. But when you begin to notice it, when you start cataloging all the contexts in which your dog produces that specific exhale, you realize it happens most consistently when they are near you. Not near the bed, not in the yard near you. The exhale is the body's answer to a question the dog doesn't know they were asking. Is it safe here? And the answer every time is yes. Sign number 9, relaxed eating. A dog eating quickly, hunched over their bowl, not looking up. That is an animal eating under some form of pressure, even if the pressure is simply evolutionary habit. A dog eating slowly, pausing between bites, looking up at you mid-meal with an expression of complete ease. That is an animal who has decided this moment doesn't require vigilance. Eating is physiologically vulnerable. The animal's attention is divided. Their head is down. Their awareness of their surroundings is temporarily reduced. Everything evolutionary in a dog's makeup tells them to eat fast and stay alert while doing it. So, when your dog takes their time, when they stop and look at you with their bowl still half full, when they eat beside you with the relaxed quality of someone who knows they're safe, they are overriding that evolutionary pressure because the evidence of your relationship has told them they don't need it. A dog who eats this way around you has decided you are not a threat to their food, their space, or their attention. They've built enough trust in the environment you've created that even their most instinctive moment of vulnerability feels comfortable. That's a significant level of trust to have earned. Sign number 10, staying calm when you leave. A dog who panics when you leave is often described as a dog who loves you intensely. But what that panic actually reflects is insecurity, an attachment that hasn't been given enough consistent evidence of safety to trust the temporary separation. The dog who loves you most securely is often the dog who watches you leave with the calm steadiness of an animal who has learned from every departure you've ever made that leaving is not the same as not coming back. You'll see it in how they settle. They watch you go, maybe they follow you to the door, and then they orient back to the room, find their spot and rest. Not because they don't care, because they're confident. Every time you came back, you were depositing that confidence in them, demonstrating through repetition that your absence has a shape, and that shape ends with your return. The calm departure response isn't detachment, it's trust. It's your dog's relationship with time proving itself more reliable than their anxiety. Sign number 11, following you from a place of ease. There's a following that comes from security and a following that comes from anxiety, and they feel different to observe. The anxious follower is tense, close, checking, repositioning every time you shift. The secure follower drifts in your direction the way a boat turns toward the wind without urgency, without demand, because being near you is simply their preferred orientation in the world. When your dog does this, trails you at a comfortable distance, settles in rooms you're in without making a performance of it, accepts the closed door between you without distress, they're demonstrating secure attachment. They like being near you because you're their favorite place to rest their attention, not because they are afraid of what happens when you're out of sight. The quality of the following is the message, and when it's relaxed and consistent across the whole span of the day, it means the bond underneath it is exactly the same way. Sign number 12, the welcome that isn't desperate. When you return home, even from a short trip outside, a happy dog greets you with a specific kind of joy that is easy to identify once you know what you're looking for. It's full, it's immediate, It fills the room with loose, unguarded energy. But it doesn't have the quality of desperation. It doesn't have the franticness of a dog who was worried you wouldn't come back. It's joyful in the same way a laugh is joyful, uncomplicated, present, not braced against anything. The body is loose, the wag is full, the energy is high but not tight. They bounce or wiggle or press against you, and in every movement there's a quality of confidence rather than relief. This is the greeting of a dog whose waiting was easy because their trust in your return was complete. They weren't suffering while you were gone. They were simply waiting for the part of their day they like best, and here it is, and it's as good as they knew it would be. Sign number 13, going to you for your scent when you're away. When your dog is left alone and finds one of your worn garments to curl around, not to chew it, not to destroy it, but to rest against it, what they are demonstrating is the depth of the association your scent has formed in their emotional brain. Your smell has been paired across every shared day with safety, warmth, and the resolution of uncertainty. It has become, at a neurological level, a version of you, a portable form of the comfort you provide that the dog can access in your absence. The detail that distinguishes this behavior in a genuinely happy dog is the gentleness of it. They hold the object rather than destroying it. They rest with it rather than using it as a focus for anxious behavior. This distinction is significant. It suggests a dog whose attachment to you is secure enough that your absence doesn't trigger distress, only a quiet preference for the closest approximation of your presence that's currently available. Sign number 14, turning their back to you. A dog who settles in front of you and casually presents their back is making a specific social statement about their relationship with you, one that is entirely positive and often misread. By positioning themselves with their back towards you, they are placing their attention on the environment rather than on you. This means they have decided you are not the part of the situation they need to monitor. You are the safe part, the known part, the part that doesn't require vigilance because they trust it completely. This is particularly meaningful when you understand how dogs navigate space. Their back is where they are most vulnerable to surprise. Choosing to face it towards you is choosing to expose that vulnerability to you specifically. It says, I know you're there. I don't need to watch you, and I trust you to watch what's behind me the same way I'm watching what's in front of us. Sign number 15, leaving your side after affection without urgency. A dog who doesn't feel secure in their bond often lingers at the end of a petting session, pushing back into your hand when you stop, following when you shift away, unable to let the moment of contact close. A dog whose security is genuine does something different. They accept the warmth of the contact while it lasts, and when it ends, they simply move on to their bed, to the window, to whatever comes next. Not because they didn't want it, because they didn't need to hold on to it. This ease of departure from affection reflects the same confidence as the calm departure from the house. The secure dog knows that the bond doesn't depend on continuous contact to remain real. They can walk away from a moment of connection without it feeling like the moment is ending. For them, the bond is structural, present and reliable in the background of every moment, whether or not contact is happening. And that certainty frees them to be fully present in the moment, and equally fully present when it's over. Sign number 16, gentle play with you. A dog who plays with you in a way that is controlled and calibrated, who gives you a softened version of the energy they would use with another dog, who monitors your response and adjusts their intensity, who comes in close and pulls back in the rhythm of genuine play rather than overstimulated excitement, is playing from a place of both joy and respect. Dogs who feel safe play gently with the people they love, not because they've been trained to, but because the bond itself moderates their behavior. They care about the experience being good for both of you. They track your reactions. They match your energy rather than exceeding it. They hold their strength back because the relationship is more important to them than winning whatever game you're playing. This kind of play is a form of communication. It says they trust you enough to be uninhibited, and they care about you enough to make sure uninhibited doesn't become overwhelming. Sign number 17, bringing you their problems. When something is stuck, blocked, or beyond what they can manage alone, a toy under the furniture, a door that won't open, a container they can't access, A dog who brings that problem to you rather than giving up or becoming frustrated is doing something behaviorally remarkable. They've learned through repeated experience that you are a source of solutions in their world, that bringing you into a problem is more effective than facing it alone, and they've built enough trust in you specifically to enact that knowledge. This is collaborative behavior, and it requires a dog who has organized you into their understanding of the world as a capable, reliable partner. They're not just asking for help, they're choosing you as the resource they trust most when something doesn't work. That choice is an expression of confidence in you, in your capability, your availability, and your willingness to be part of their life in a functional way. Sign number 18, sharing their space with you. Dogs protect their resting spots the way people protect their personal space, with a quiet but real preference for keeping them their own. The bed, the warm floor patch, the corner of the couch they always claim, these are small territories that belong to the dog. And when your dog moves over to make room for you, or nudges toward you to invite you into that space, something significant is happening. They have decided you belong inside the perimeter of their comfort zone, not just tolerated within it, not permitted there as a neutral presence, invited. The space that was theirs has become, in their understanding, something you're part of, and you can see this in how they settle once you're there. No adjustment, no bracing, no monitoring. They don't need to manage you within their space because they chose to share it. You're not an intrusion, you're part of what makes it comfortable. That invitation, quiet, unhurried, expressed through a small shift of position rather than any grand gesture, is among the most genuinely meaningful things a dog can offer. It means the boundary between their comfort and yours has stopped existing. And that only happens when a dog has decided in every layer of their experience of you that you are fully, completely, irreversibly theirs. These 18 signs aren't performances. They're not tricks, and they're not trained responses to commands. They are the behavioral residue of a relationship that has been built correctly through consistency, through predictability, through all the quiet days when you were simply there, and that turned out to be enough. Your dog's happiness doesn't announce itself. It accumulates, and it shows up in details like these scattered through every ordinary day waiting to be recognized. Subscribe to Canine Mind and drop a comment below. Tell us which of these you saw in your dog today, because now you'll know exactly what you're looking at.